my channel, and today for Tea Talk, someone's phone's going off. I think it was mine. Oh yeah, it's mine. Let me mute that. Today for Tea Talk, we have one of my favorite people. You guys have seen her many times, Miss Carrie Rad.
Hello.
Woo!
Hello, NikkiPhillippi people.
And I want to point out, her name is Carrie Rad, and yes, you will notice we are in fact wearing Rad shirts.
Representing today.
I love these shirts. These are actually her shirts, and I told her, I'm like, we have to wear your shirts today because I love them so much. They're so awesome.
Sweetest friend, and we're also using NikkiPhillippi Tumblr.
I know, but this
so
is
we're
like,
just like very
yeah, we are
right
we are branded app today. We are doing good.
You know
so
what? Hey,
I know it's
no
good.
shame.
I know, no shame. And we're actually I'm gonna link her shirts in the info box down below because Carrie, she gave this to me today. She came over. She's like, this is for you. I'm like, I'm literally obsessed.
It fits you really nice.
$10 says I'm gonna get stopped like all the time when I wear it. People
Oh,
be like,
yay.
where's your shirt from?
Yay.
I'm like, let me tell you. Link in the info box, except not in real life. But anyways, so we're excited today because we're not only drinking tea, I've got Zoe here with me as well, which
Wearing her diaper.
yeah. Poor little angel. So I'm gonna put her down and let her run free. Don't leave, okay?
I can't handle her.
She's so cute.
Oh my god.
So today, out of our NikkiPhillippi Tumbler cups, for our tea, we are drinking a flavor called Oolong Peach from a place called TL out here, which is the Tea Gardens, where I took you.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Oh, so yummy.
So that's what we're drinking today. I haven't drank it in a while, so I'm excited to take a sip.
I really like it.
Oh, dude.
I already
like it too.
I already took a sip.
It's good. I know she did. I was like, no! And she was like, oh, sorry.
I got in trouble.
That's okay though. She
But
didn't
it's so good.
It's so
She's
good,
like,
huh?
What's the flavor? Peach? Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Peach
Total
oolong.
sense,
I think this is the flavor you got at Tea Gardens, right? Mason, you got the peach tea last time we went?
It was super delicious.
It's super good. That's
So
what this
good.
is. We have it here. So
It's very refreshing. You can never go wrong with peach.
I know. Peach teas are so good. So it's really good. I don't think you can actually get Tea Gardens tea online. If you can, I'll definitely link that down below too, but I don't think you can get it. So I'm excited today because when Carrie showed up, we were like, okay, what do we want to film a tea talk about? Which also, side note, we're also filming a Rad Talks over on her channel, which is kind of a similar like format where you just sit down and you have conversations with people, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. So we were talking about like, what do we want to film? And so the conclusion that we came to is today to film a video about the 5 love languages on my channel and a video about anxiety on Carrie's channel. And I'm really excited about that. I haven't read the 5 love languages in like almost a decade.
Yeah.
But when I last read it, I took the test.
Yeah.
And I took the test then, and then she had me take the test today. My results were exactly the same as they were a decade ago, which is funny.
Yeah.
And you took your test again today, right?
Yeah, and I got the exact same that I've always been, and I have the exact same story. I took it like 10 years ago, and was just like, oh, this is really cool.
If any of you don't know what the 5 love languages are, whatever, it's a book that was written like, I want to say what, 15, 20 years ago by a guy named Gary Chapman, and I think he was a pastor and a marriage counselor, and he ended up finding out through doing like all of these sessions with couples that basically, and you correct me if you're wrong, because I know you did it like 10 years ago, but did you read it again recently?
Mm-hmm.
So you'd probably have more like of a recollection than me.
Yeah, I just recently took the test with my boyfriend. We've been together for like almost 6 months now, and I was like, I really want to take the test because I was so curious. I think it's so interesting when you start dating somebody. If it starts getting more serious, it's so interesting to know how they want to receive love.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I wanted to know if I was still the same. And I couldn't even remember exactly what I had gotten before. I kind of had an idea about it. So we should probably say what the 5 languages of love are. Yeah. So there is words of affirmation, physical touch, gifts,
quality time, and acts of service.
Yes.
Oh.
Those are the 5.
And to kind of wrap up back to what it was, this marriage counselor, Gary Chapman, ended up finding out, or what he ended up coming, the conclusion he came to, was that a lot of people they'll be showing love, but the other person doesn't recognize it because it's not the way that they might show love and the way that they might receive love. So they might think, this person doesn't love me, or it might cause fights, when really that other person is doing all that they can to show love, but they're like speaking in their own language to show love, their love language.
And it is so true.
Yeah.
It's so real.
Yeah.
I've been in 2 now in my life, I've been in 2 serious relationships, currently in one, and was in one in the past. And when I reflect back on my past relationship, it's crazy because it was so true. Because my main thing with the relationship in the past was I don't feel loved. I don't feel valued. But he was showing love in an entirely different way than I needed to be receiving it.
Yeah.
So it's just really interesting. I never took the test with him.
Oh, really?
Never. Yeah. So I feel like it would have been really interesting
to know. Do you feel like looking back from what you know about him, you could have guessed, like, oh, now that I know this makes sense. I totally know what he was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Like, Zoe, we got Zoe behind the camera kind of low-key freaking out. She's feeling extra cuddly today.
She really wants to cuddle everyone.
Zoe!
Right now.
Zoe's love language is physical touch. Come here. It's interesting because I was telling Carrie before, like, she hasn't really said that much, but I've mentioned to you guys that I see a therapist, and she's kind of made comments about the love language, like basically insinuating that it's kind of like incomplete or that it's like part of the puzzle. But that is honestly how I saw it before too. I've never seen the love languages as like the answer to everything, but I've always seen it as like a really interesting observation and way to like fill a communication gap almost. If it's like, well, why do I feel this way? It's a really interesting point for your partner to recognize, for you to recognize about your partner, how they might be showing you love all the time and like appreciating it and all of that.
So let's talk about what we are.
Okay.
So we both just took the test, and the interesting thing about the test is that it gives you different levels of all of the different love languages. So it'll give you a ranking on each one. For my scores, I got 11, which this is actually a little bit different than I got an even higher. Because last time I think I was 10 on words of affirmation, but I'm 11.
I'm 11 too.
Are you words of affirmation?
Yes. I think this is one of the reasons why we get along so well.
Yes.
Because we're the same in that department.
That
like,
is so
I
true.
do feel like when I'm with Carrie, I'm like, there's this like sensitivity in our language amongst each other that like really makes us feel very safe.
Yeah.
I feel like that's probably
oh my God,
why.
that makes so much
so funny.
sense.
Your second one though is different than mine.
Mine's physical touch.
Mine is quality time.
Yeah.
I'm about to remove Zoe. Hold on. Everybody put pause.
Out.
I gotta get Zoe out of here because she will not stop freaking out.
So my second one is physical touch, but also I got the same level of quality time.
Oh, that's interesting.
You know? So
oh, that's interesting.
my next 2 are the same level.
But they're,
physical touch and quality time.
And yours are like the same as mine, but they're flipped. So mine is quality time and physical touch. Which it's
you do not like receiving gifts.
it's like not my thing.
Yeah.
It's not, well, actually, I was gonna say it's not that I don't like receiving gifts, but right as those words came out of my mouth, I was like, wait, let's get real. That's actually kind of true if I really think about it, because every time people give me gifts, not this shirt, by the way, I have to preface that. I was like, wait, no, I always feel kind of bad. Like I feel like, oh no, you've worked really hard for your money, like just get what you need to get. Like, don't buy it for me. I'm cool. Like, I feel almost guilty when people give me gifts. Like, because I'm just like, I associate it with the time that they've spent to make the money that they turn around and spent on me. And I'm like, I didn't need anything. Yeah. I'll just take words of affirmation and quality time with you. You know what I mean? I'm like, keep your gift.
It's so funny because once you hear what someone is, you're like,
ding!
Oh, wow, that makes so much sense.
I know. But the gifts thing, I have to say that if you are a gifts person, I already know from reading the book that like you have to really see it as like love, because to a gifts person, even though I translated it as like, whoa, like don't give that to me. You spent your time working for that money to buy that. A gifts person sees a gift. I mean, I can't speak for them because I'm clearly not a gift person, but according to the book, a gift person, and my sister is like this, sees it as like, wow, you went out of your way to think of something special for me. You really love me. So it's just interesting to see.
And there's no wrong language.
Yeah, no.
Like some people are like even my boyfriend, when he took the test, he ranked really high on acts of service. Yeah. It was like his second one. And he was like, oh, that's weird. Like, that's weird. Why was that there? You know what I mean? Like, he's like, I'm not, you know. And I was like, no, like, you are, though.
Yeah.
That makes so much sense because you get so excited if I fill the Brita back up. Or,
yeah.
like, you know what I mean?
It's funny you say that because I would not have thought to go down that road with this conversation. But as you're saying that, it does make me think how, like, you can invalidate your own thing. Like, I have thought with words of affirmation being the first one, like, I'm just so needy for words. Like, it's like so floofy and like, oh, like you almost feel a little embarrassed. But I would have never thought, I guess I wouldn't have really like connected that thought or had that thought very coherently or thought that someone else might feel that way.
Yeah.
Because I see acts of service as like such a cool love language. Because in my head, since it's not my top one at all, it's my second to last one, I see it as like, wow, that's so admirable. Look at you like taking care of someone. Yeah. But mine is just words. So that's a really good point.
I know. I look at mine and I'm like, words. Like, words? Really? Words is what makes you... But it is true. If someone tells me they appreciate me or that they love me, or like... Then
I appreciate and love you.
But it's so funny because, like, words are an easy thing to just kind of...
Throw around.
Which is like... You know, it's just really interesting that would be our main love language. It's something that's so easy to do.
I know. But it's interesting on the flip side, though, to someone like Dan. So Dan and I have been... So I've been seeing a counselor for like a couple of years. And lately, Dan and I have started going to counseling together, which I think is really... It's been really cool and very eye-opening. Yeah. And for Dan, words is... It's so difficult for him. So you would think... Yeah. Because I get what you mean, because it's so easy. It's like, words are cheap. And like, I really do value action behind those words, but it's very difficult for him to express how he feels. Yeah. And that's pretty much it, just his feelings around something.
So you know when Dan says something that it's meaningful. He means it. Yeah, and I think that that's important when you're in a relationship, if you are a words of affirmation person, that you trust your partner and like that you can take, because if you're a words of affirmation person and you're in a relationship that you don't really trust everything that they say, that's hard. Yeah. Because you're like, words are really meaningful to me and I don't trust you. I don't trust your words.
Yeah. You know? That's a really, gosh, you bring up so many interesting points. It's a really good point because I was also thinking about Dan. It was either like last night or the night before, and I was thinking about the things that I really like about him. And honestly, probably one of the top things, if not the top thing at the very top, is that I feel like I can trust him because I feel like his words and his actions, like I know pretty much what to expect. Like I know that he is a loyal person and he cares and he says what he means. You know what I mean? So that's really interesting.
Yeah, I think that's like, obviously that's a quality that you want in a partner, is like being able to trust the words that are coming out of their mouth. But I think like it's particularly important for words of affirmation person.
Totally. That's so interesting.
Yeah. I wonder if like there's specific languages that go better together.
Oh, that's interesting. I haven't even thought about that.
Yeah.
I mean, Dan and I are complete opposite, so I feel like depending on who you ask, that could be good or bad. Yeah. I actually thought for the longest time we were talking about Myers-Briggs this morning, because I was considering doing a video about that, which I think I totally am going to do at some point. Yeah. Like introversion, extroversion, like, she has not taken the test.
Which we're the same on, we think, too.
I know. I think there is a good chance that we are. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see. At least in the introversion, extroversion department. Maybe not in Myers-Briggs, because there's like 16 different types. But we're both totally, very similar in the introversion, extroversion department. But we were talking about it, and on Myers-Briggs for the longest time, I read one article somewhere that basically said that Dan's and my personality should never be together because we're so opposite. It would be too difficult. But then recently I stumbled across another article from this guy or a video that I've started watching a bunch of his videos on YouTube about Myers-Briggs. And he actually said that we're a really good pairing together. And so I was like, I'm going to subscribe to that school of thought. Thanks, buddy. But I don't remember what the point of that was. I mean, I just think that it's like if you can learn how to, I think you end up filling each other's, like it's like strengths and weaknesses. Yeah, and I guess should be a little better at acts of services, you know?
Yeah, I think the whole purpose in it, and what I like about it is that like you can be in a relationship, just like we talked about before, like you can be in a relationship and it's so, when you start dating somebody and you're falling for them, it's so interesting to know more about them, isn't it? Like you're like, oh, like how do you work? Like, and that's what's I think so exciting about relationships in general is like, how does this person want to receive love from me? And it's so important that the other person feels love, and that's why I love the 5 languages of love, because every time someone takes it, like now that you're telling me that your words of affirmation, it makes so much sense, because I'm like, totally like duh. Because when we're together, because it's not just romantic relationship, like that's what I think was created for, but we have a relationship too. So like I think it makes so much sense that we're both words of affirmation, because when we're together, we love to talk. Yeah, we love to talk, but we also love to like encourage each other. And that's one thing about our friendship is like we will just like literally we just sit back and forth and encourage each other, like in conversations all the
I
time.
love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I know she has to bounce by a certain time today, and I literally was like, I'm sad that we don't get to get lunch today. I mean, we get to talk here on camera, which is awesome, and always like so easy and fun with you. But I'm like, looking
But
forward
behind
to
the
lunch.
scenes, there's some really good combos too.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and what you were saying about discovering about your partner, I find that interesting too, because through like our relationship in general, as well as now being in counseling, it's fascinating how much there is to still learn about someone. I mean, I haven't been with Dan forever, but we've been together for 11 years. We've been together for 11 years, and I'm just like, I have so much to still learn about you, and so much that is being exposed and coming out in our counseling sessions. And I find it really like, it's exciting.
Yeah.
You know, like, and it's like bringing us into a whole new season in our relationship.
Yeah, that's cool.
So it's fun. I'm having a good time.
Yeah, I think it's so cool to like, especially being married you guys have been married for...
It'll be 9 years this February.
Yeah, you guys have grown
Full
up
lives.
together.
We literally have.
And so I think that's so cool that you guys are doing therapy together to find, because like you guys are at probably a whole
completely different place
that you were when
completely
you started.
Different
so it's like good to like check in and be like, yo, how are you doing? How's your life going? Like, how do you feel about this?
Yeah. And learning how to be like even more intimate and more close in some ways, but also being independent people. It's hard to be both, and I think that relationships go through like weird rhythms and stuff, and like figuring that out together. I don't know, I'm being super vague right now, but
like
it's just been interesting.
Yeah, regarding like going back to like the 5 languages of love, I think it's one thing like that I found really interesting like recently with my kind of newer relationship is like you can kind of, once you take it, you can like kind of refer back to it. So like if you're not like, because Alex, my boyfriend, he ranked highest on quality time. He was high up on acts of service, but his number 1 was quality time.
That makes sense based on the little stories you've told me.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that's cute.
Yeah, he loves like little getaways together and stuff like that. So like he's definitely quality time, and that makes so much sense to me. After he took it, I was like, oh yeah, that makes so much sense. But it's funny because you can refer back and be like, when we haven't been spending a lot of time together, it's kind of this moment of like, it like we'll even say like, or he'll be like, quality time, and I'm like, I know, you know.
I totally get that way too.
Yeah.
Literally, Dan and I were having a conversation this morning where I'm like, we have to go on vacation, like stat. We're actually trying to get to the point where we start scheduling like little getaways. We've never been a little getaways couple. Yeah. We've never even been a vacation couple, to be honest. Yeah. We took our first vacation since our honeymoon together as a couple last year. After almost 8 years of being married, we had never taken a vacation together since our honeymoon. So, like, when we went, we were like, wait, we have to do this way more often. Yeah. So we're actually trying to take like a little 4-day trip within the next like month or so, and then we're going to take like another vacation. We're trying to start implementing
like
that into
little
our life.
Weekends too. Like like there's so many like Ojai, like Big Sur. There's so many like fun little places
that we haven't done. I know. Yeah. That don't have to be huge ordeals. That it's just like, okay, let's just go away for a couple of days. Yeah. So we're trying to kind of like switch into that gear and become like that couple that makes sure they get away, because for me, it's like so important. And I know Dan is like, I'm 99% sure from when you took it last, he's acts of service, physical touch, quality time. Okay. So it's important to him. It's either physical touch or quality time, might be flipped. I don't remember. Mm-hmm. But we just haven't gone away. We get into the rhythm of staying home. You know what I mean? So
I'd like to meet. I haven't met a lot of like gift givers. But you know what? That's what I think my ex was. I think he was a gift giver, and I think he was acts of service.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. We never actually took it, but looking back, I'm like, that's definitely what he was. You can see from the way that he showed love. And that's why I never felt like, because I was like, oh, what about words of affirmation? What about quality time? Was like, you know, and he was more of like, oh, I'm gonna like go fill up your car, or like,
yes.
You know what
I mean, you saw Dan. Yeah. Hey, I'm gonna go buy you a knife set. Like, that's totally Dan. I'm like, sweet, thanks, Dan.
But it's not a moment of like, oh, he loves me.
Yes, but that is literally what's going on.
But that's what's going on.
Yeah, it's really sweet. And also, maybe this is super evident right now in this whole conversation, but just in case it wasn't like crystal clear, a good way to kind of look and think about what that person's love language is, or your own, is the way that they show love. Like, so it's good to look at like, well, what is my love language? It's like, well, how do I tell people I love them. Oh, I tell them through doing something for
Yeah.
them or like hugging them or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Then that's usually 99% of the time the way you feel love too, is when other people do that for you. I
Yeah.
feel like that was probably super self-evident, or not self-evident, but evident. But in case it wasn't, there you go.
It's hard to show love in a way that you
Is not your love
don't
language.
receive, like you don't care about receiving it.
It's super hard.
So hard.
Like I never, like when you were like, oh, when I fill up the Brita filter or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't remember. First off, I was like, round of applause to Carrie. But second off, I don't remember who it was I was talking to, and I was telling them like, oh my God, you're such a better wife than me. Like I suck. I kind of low key suck at acts of service. Like I'm trying to get better at like doing things for him. I'm really bad at it. Like it's sometimes like what you were saying about how there's no bad language. It is hard for me sometimes to not beat up on myself, because sometimes I'll feel like a schmuck because I'm like, I don't do crap for anyone. I literally just run my mouth.
But I
and
hear
that's
you
it.
when you express words of affirmation all the time.
I know, but to
But
me,
that's
I'm
the way
like,
you receive it.
exactly. It's so
But
hard.
it's still you trying.
Yeah.
But like, yeah,
Everyone's all and.
like you're always giving Dan words of affirmation.
Yeah.
Like when I'm around you guys, I always hear that.
Yeah.
But like, yeah.
But
So
it's not his. It's so
yeah,
hard.
It's interesting.
I know, it's difficult. I want to get better at it, but it goes both ways. It's hard for Dan,
Yeah.
but now it's like we're both actively trying to figure out the ways that maybe the other person hasn't felt taken care of, and to just really try to take care of that. Because I think all relationships, it's like, it's so stupid sounding, but it's like a little garden that you have to like water and learn about the plant and trim the plant and like
And you have to be
plant in the
like
sun.
in it. You have to like, sometimes it's so easy
Yes.
in a relationship to just be like, like we're just gonna keep going.
Yes.
And then things just end up like slowly falling apart, or like kind of just getting like clustered together, like different anxieties and frustrations that like, if you're not in it and aware of it all the time, which is like really hard
it's really
to do.
hard to push it to the forefront of your brain all the time.
Because you're comfortable and should be comfortable in a relationship. So you're just like, oh yeah, this is my partner, we're just going through life, blah blah blah.
Totally.
But like just being like, oh, what is his love language again?
Yeah.
You know?
It's hard. It's
Yeah,
really
super hard.
That's what you just touched on, is totally what I've gone through in the last couple months, is this realization of like, oh, I haven't been making that like my front of mind priority. I've just been going through life with this partner. But I think what you said is true, that I think that what happens if you don't do that, then life just goes on and things slowly fall apart and you don't even realize it. And then I think you wake up one day and you're like, what have I done? Like, I didn't pay attention.
Yeah. So I think like a cool thing that could be a takeaway from this video is like, to if you're going through a hard time in your relationship, or if you're not going through a hard time, like whatever stage of your relationship you're in right now, try taking the 5 languages of love. And see and figure out like if that could help it, because it could.
Yeah. Well, I heard my pastor say something once about like life situations. He was like, and actually another friend just said this to me the other day. I was like, my pastor says that. Where he said, if you're not in a storm, you either just got out of one or you're going into one. So he's talking about like life things. But I think in general that principle is like preparation. And I think that thought of preparation is really applicable to this. Like maybe your relationship is super like, you just feel the butterflies all the time. You guys are so happy and you get along. But like, life can get hard and time can pass by, and I think that the focus on preparation and caring for it, not letting it get to that extreme point, is so important. It's just so hard to remember, but I think it's so important.
Yeah, and it's a cool thing to find out.
Yeah, it's fun. Yeah, I'm making it sound all like, meh, but it's fun.
No,
it's cool.
yeah.
So yeah, guys, I think that's pretty much it, right?
Yeah.
Great job at our
Great job.
conversation and our words of affirmation.
Yeah.
So guys,
wait, that's how we show love to you guys.
It is.
Literally.
It literally, that's literally what we do. We sit down and we talk.
No wonder we do what we do.
We're like, we want to do talking videos. All we ever want to do is talk. So that's pretty hysterical.
Yeah.
So I will leave the link down below for a couple of things. I'm going to leave a link to the shirts. I'm going to leave a link to my NikkiPhillippi cup. I'm going to leave a link to the 5 love languages test, and I'm going to leave a link to the video that we did over on Carrie's channel all about anxiety that we're about to film right now. So all of those links will be down below. I'm really excited to have this conversation with you, because that's something that I've dealt with literally my
and
whole
we've
life.
never talked about anxiety.
Oh, we haven't?
I don't think so.
Oh, I'm excited to have
Maybe we
this.
touched on it a little bit in conversation, but I'm excited to like fully go into it.
I'm pretty excited too. So we're gonna go do that now, and we will see you there. You guys have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow with another new video. Bye, guys.